So with tithing, I think I've always felt guilty because a lot of us are financially stressed right now. We can't necessarily give 10%. And I mean, would you consider tithing like a version of service in the sense that you can't necessarily give financially, but you can give with like volunteering and like giving of yourself generously in another way?
So I don't think tithing's a particularly good metric at all for any of us. I don't think it's related. I don't think there's any passages in the New Testament that teach us to do that. I think we're just supposed to be generous where we can. And generosity can absolutely be your material resources, it can be your time, your creativity, all of that. But the one thing I would want to say is it's not just, hey, I can't afford to do this financially, so I'm going to shift to something else. It's actually letting go of that whole framework that I have to do this, or this is what I'm trying to measure up to, or somebody's going to check on me. If it's not the pastor, then it's going to be God checking up to make sure I've done enough. It's not helpful for any of us. Instead, what we want to do is develop this generosity inside of us that says, hey, where is my good eye going to show me where I can help? And I'm going to jump in when I can. So absolutely, I agree with you, but I'd take it even a step farther.
What are some ways that we could maybe learn to pay attention to where that evil eye is showing up? Like, how can we spot it?
Yeah. I think one of the things that, when I hear that question, one of the things I think of is anxiety, right? Like, there's this question of, am I doing enough? Is it measuring up? And that can be in terms of tithing and expectations that have been placed on us in our Christian experience. But I think anywhere in our lives where we feel this anxiety about whether I'm good enough, whether I've done enough, whether I measure up to someone's expectation of me, I think that is a symptom of that evil eye that's moving you through the world in a way that says your value is determined by what someone else thinks of you, not this incredible belovedness that all of us have as children of God. And so I'm sure there's lots of ways that it shows up, but that's one for me, is that sort of tightness in your chest. Like, am I enough? Am I doing enough? I think that's the moment to say, okay, I'm going to take a breath, and I am. I'm going to sit in that, and then I'm going to start moving forward again, and I'm going to go through the world with as generous and a kind way as I can. Bobby?
Yeah, that's so helpful to think about, what we feel in our bodies around themes like generosity and wealth. I also think it can be a deep spiritual practice to identify the systems that are at play, like, upon us. And I think a lot of our desires are so shaped mimetically, and it can feel quite heavy. Maybe anxiety is also a good word for it. When it comes to like, oh my gosh, I'm imitating and I want more. And to realize like we wouldn't be where we are without those kind of forces upon us. And so the work is to begin to identify, okay, like I am struggling with, I was thinking about this phrase, like the daydream of affluence. Like, to think like, if I just had a little more and my life could be a bit easier. And then I think that's never been the version of a person that has presented their best self to me. The person who lives with all ease and affluence all the time. And I was thinking in particular, a little story time with Bobby, about when I got married. We were moving from Vancouver to I was moving from Vancouver to Calgary. So we asked our guests, like, we don't need your gifts, but if you want to give, you're welcome to, like, give us a little wedding money. That's great. And let me tell you, the people who gave so much more than they ever should have, if I were standing in front of them, I would have said, no, you keep that. We're not the people from this place of like affluence and ease. They were the people that seemed to live so consistently in relationship with the good eye. And I loved remembering that again today, that I get myself caught up in the system like we all do, that maybe if I just had a little more and I could just go wherever I wanted and do whatever I wanted with such ease, that does not make for a better Bobby in the world. It really, really doesn't. Some restrictions, some simplicity, and then acts of generosity that I think absolutely involve our money sometimes towards our friends, towards our loved ones, towards a stranger that we can help really simply with a cup of coffee. I think that there are so many opportunities to recognize, okay, like this is a bigger system, like unhook myself from that guilt, but then to move forward toward the kind of person I actually want to be, which is not actually the person with all affluence and ease. I don't think that makes us better people.
I love that, even that phrase, like, who's the person you want to be? Focus on that rather than where you measure up to what everyone else thinks about you. Who do you want to be with this?